Welcome back to part 2 of the Passover. Actually, you guys, this is part 2 and there's going to be a part 3. Going through all the footage of the cooking, it would just be too long of a video to add the Seder on there too. So this is making a lot of the dishes for the festive meal and also some of the dishes for the Seder plate. As you'll see, there's 2 sections, 2 layers on the table. There'll be the plates for the festive meal, and then on top of that, the Seder plates. So I hope you enjoy. These are just going to be some recipes that I used this time. There'll be the Charoset. There will be a chicken dish. The main recipes that I show are Baklava, the chicken recipe, and getting ready. So, I hope you enjoy it, and the Seder will come in the next video. We're starting in on the cooking. The first thing that tastes better the longer it sits out is baklava. So we're doing that first. I'm going to take some almonds, some pecans, and some walnuts. Mix that together with a nice amount of cinnamon. I love cinnamon. And we'll mix that up, and then that will be ready when we need it. I've got 2 pounds of phyllo dough here. And I melted 1.5 pounds of butter here on the stove. And I'm going to coat each piece with butter. This is one of my favorite desserts because it is so delicious. So you take each piece, and actually I'm going to put it in here and then coat it because it's easier to move. You take each piece and coat it, and I don't know how many pieces are in here. I'll count them when I go through here. And I'm going to speed this video up so you don't have to watch me do every single sheet. Okay, I got all those sheets in there. I counted, and it might have been about 25 sheets of phyllo dough with butter in between each one. And now we're going to take our nut mixture and sprinkle this in here. That looks good. And then we do this same thing again. We take each sheet, and they're so thin. It's amazing that they hang together. Take this, and then here we go again. I'm going to coat each sheet with butter. Okay, we've finished all those layers. Must be about 40 to 50 layers. And now we're going to put it in the oven. We're going to bake that at 350 for 10 minutes, and then we'll reduce the heat to 300 and bake it for another 15 minutes. And while that's in the oven, I'm actually going to do a second batch to make sure we have enough for everybody. In the meanwhile, I had to check outside and see if all the cows were behaving. Looks like they're pretty happy. Now back inside to get those tables ready. The exciting part, I love to make a big, beautiful, fancy Seder table. So I'm in the midst of that. Right now I'm ironing the napkins for the table. Since it's still a little early to start working on the food, what I'm doing is laying out all the dishes and all their ingredients. So when the day comes to start cooking, which will probably be tomorrow or the next day, it'll be a little easier to have everything laid out for myself. There's two sections to the Passover. There's the Seder part, which is the traditional, I'm going over the Seder plate, and then after that is a big festive meal. So these napkins will be for the second part, the festive meal. My dad helped with cutting the onions, and we got some peppers and cheese grated. Just prep work like that, so it'll be a little easier.
Oh, great.
This part, getting the table ready and preparing the food, I really enjoy. The only scary part is forgetting something, so I make a lot of lists. Okay, you guys, this is the first layer of the Passover table. So this will be for the festive meal, which comes after the Seder. And we didn't quite have enough of the Passover Seder dishes, so those will go on top of these dishes as soon as they arrive. Okay, you guys, I am making the Charoset for the Seder plate. And the Charoset is a combination of dried fruit and apples, and there's so many recipes. The one I like is with dates and walnuts, pecans, and almonds. I usually put a little orange zest in, and I have a mixture of spices that include cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, and cloves, and yeah. And I mix that up till it smells really good, and I have that here. So the first thing I'm going to do is add a couple cups of walnuts, and if there's allergies to walnuts, then you can just do something else, but I'm going to use all three nuts: walnuts, almonds, and pecans. And here's the pecans. Okay, I'm going to mix that up here real quick. Now I'm going to add my spices, and I should tell you what the Charoset is a picture of. It's a picture of the mortar that the Israelites used when they were building bricks for the Egyptians under slave labor. So it looks like mortar, but it tastes delicious because it points to our future home in heaven. So next, well, I need to mix that first. Okay, that's mixed in good. Now we're going to add the dates. I don't know about you, but I love dates. So this will make it nice and sticky. I also like to add orange zest. So I cut some ahead of time. We'll put that in there. And just a week ago, I got date honey with orange zest from Israel. They send out, we're on a subscription for a box from Israel every month. So this was in there. So I'm going to put a little bit of that in there, not too much. And I've got my honey ready. It needs some liquid in here. So I'm putting that in. And I want a little bit of orange juice to go along with that zest. And one more item, I'm going to throw in some raisins. And if you want to spice it up a little, you can add the yellow raisins, but I don't have any on hand, so let's see how this is. Chop it up. We won't just use it for the Seder. Throughout the week when we're eating matzah, we can add this to it, and it's so good. Okay, you guys, I just had a taste of it. It's really good. It's sweet and crunchy and really good. So I'm not going to mix any more in that. I'm just going to make little balls and roll them in the coconut or pecan pieces. I'll do both. Okay, so here we have the ones rolled in the pecans, and that'll be for the Seder plate. And these are rolled in coconut, and that will be just to eat later. So that's the end of the Charoset. I'm going to put this in the refrigerator, and it's going to taste even better the next day. You guys, these taste like candy, even though there's no added sugar. Just honey for sweetener and dates. They taste so good. Now we're making chicken surprise. And so the usual, we put the onions and the peppers in the oil and saute them. And these are cut ahead of time, so it makes it really nice. There we go. Okay, to that we're adding 9 tablespoons of potato starch. And we're using potato starch instead of flour because we don't want any leavening. And to that we're going to add diced tomatoes. And 1.5 cups of apple juice. And also chicken broth, and I love this broth. This is good. Okay. We're mixing that up, and then we also want to add raisins. Okay, so we're adding a couple cups of raisins. And we're going to bring that to a boil. So here it is, coming to a boil. Got the raisins and all the liquids, apple juice, tomato, and chicken broth. We're just going to let that thicken up a little bit with the potato starch. And it's starting to thicken up. Okay, next is the chicken. Crooked there. Okay, here comes the chicken. I just cooked it this morning, so So we've got over 9 cups. I'm going to add more apple juice to that. So there's what it looks like. We'll put that aside and go to the next thing. So right now I have a pitcher of warm water, which I'm adding salt to. We're making salt water, which we will put in these little containers, which will go on the Seder plate, and that stands for the tears that were shed. Okay, now we're working on the matzo ball soup. So I'm mixing up, and this will be part of the festive meal. We'll have matzo ball soup. Now we're preparing the broth for the matzo ball soup. We want 20 cups of liquid. And I've got my trusty chili powder. And I'm going to put a little bit in there to give it a little color and a little more taste. Okay, we now have the second layer on the table. This is the Seder plate. And this is what we'll go through first before we get to the festive meal. Well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the last one, Passover number 3 video for the crowning event. Bye.